Good afternoon, guys. Good afternoon. I'm going to start this video by asking a question. Do you believe what is being said about Barack Obama, USAID, Boko Haram, terrorism, and Nigeria? Do you believe? And before we enter into this, in the midst of this chaos, Barack Obama took time to wish his wife Happy Valentine's Day. He said, 32 years together and you still take my breath away. Happy Valentine's Day, Michelle Obama. So I went there to check if he has said anything about what is making rounds. I discovered that he hasn't said anything. I am looking forward to hearing his side of the story. So please, guys, use the comment section. Tell us more if you're from Nigeria, or maybe just share your comments if you're from South Africa or any other African country. I would really like to see the African comments, not the ones that are from outside Africa. Do get, those things that we hear that they are happening. Sometimes you feel like you have no clue of what is happening in the world, but sometimes we do have an idea, but we just don't know how deep that thing is. And before we enter into more commentary on this, please let us hear from the person himself who started all this mess.
On top of, in addition to the weekly to every 10-day shipments in cash of $40 to $80 million. Afghanistan is ruled by folks named Sarayuddin Haqqani. Haqqani network mean anything to anybody in the room? How about Abdullah bin Laden? Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? Because your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding. If you think that the program under Operation Enduring Sentinel, entitled Women's Scholarship Endowment, which receives $60 million annually, or the Young Women Lead, which gets about $5 million annually, is going to women who, by the way, if you read the Inspector General's report, is telling you that the Taliban does not allow women to speak in public. Yet somehow you're believing, and American people are supposed to believe, that this money is going for the betterment of the women in Afghanistan. It is not. You are funding terrorism, and it's coming through USAID. And it's not just Afghanistan. Why would there be any evidence? The Inspector General can't get in to see him. But you know what? We doubled down and spent $20 million from USAID to create educational television programs for children unable to attend the physical school. Yeah, they can't attend it because it doesn't exist. You paid for it. Somebody else got the money. You are paying for terrorism. This has got to end. I yield, Mr. Chairman. ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan.
Dear Bola Tinubu, this is a very serious allegation. This is a very, very serious allegation. And to the respective heads of all our security agencies in Nigeria, this is a very serious allegation that should not be overlooked. Over time, we have heard different stories that Boko Haram are being sponsored by the West, but there was no clearer evidence than this particular evidence. I mean, this man's name is Scott Gordon Perry. He's an American politician and a retired Army National Guard Brigadier General. Now, the Army National Guard in the US is just like an American military reserve. So they don't go outside war, they only stay inside. It's a domestic army, but they don't go outside to go and fight. So this man is privileged to a lot of information. So him coming out to say that the USAID, the money that's supposed to be used to sponsor countries in development, are being used to sponsor terrorism in different countries, to cause chaos in those countries, so that they can make more money in those countries and also make more money with the USAID. It's just crazy. Now, what's the USAID? The USAID is an independent agency of the United States government that is primarily responsible for administrating civilian foreign aid and development assistance. Now, what is the purpose of the USAID? The purpose of the USAID is the U.S. Agency for International Development is the principal U.S. agency to extend assistance to countries recovering from disaster, trying to escape poverty, and engaging in democratic reform. So all these poor countries, they go there. Their primary responsibility is to give them a boost, to upgrade them, to uplift them, just general development by the funds that are being contributed or the funds that are being donated for the development of this such country, like a third world country. But now this man is coming to reveal that those money are being used to sponsor terrorism. Now, the problem now is not what this man is saying, it's the way the government is even reacting to this, right? The government are actually not saying anything about this. This man is telling us that he's literally saying, I know the people responsible for the buying of a lot of people in Nigeria through Boko Haram. That's what he's saying. He's literally saying, I know them, because he has pointed that it is the USAID. So I would expect that the Nigerian government, as Bola Ahmed Tinubu government, would actually do a deep investigation and bring this man, or maybe tell him, ask him question, you have the right. He literally called Boko Haram that affected the lives of a lot of people and caused chaos in Nigeria. You know, turned a lot of states upside down. See Borno State. See a lot of northern states have been turned upside down. A lot of people cannot go to school. A lot of them have to run away because of insecurity and insurgency from all those states and because of the Boko Haram. So this guy has come out to say, okay, yes, I'm giving you people a direction so that people can know where the problem is coming from and know what have affected us in Nigeria, because Boko Haram is still affecting us up till now. So the Nigerian government are quiet, and I'm surprised. Unless, of course, if they know about it and they have been the one that have been cleaning up. Because, to be honest, there's nothing that gets past the eyes of the government. That's just the truth. There's nothing that gets past the eyes of the government, unless if they deliberately want to keep quiet. Because normally, you get what you go talk, DSS will come pick you. You get what you go talk, NSA will come pick you. You get what you go talk, police will come pick you. They'll talk, say, it's an act of terrorism. They just literally exposed what. Do you know how many people where Boko Haram don't buy because of this insecurity and insurgency? You know what Boko Haram don't do for this country at all? Up till now, there was still a news last week where Boko Haram entire army camp allegedly go by army, carry their guns, carry them run. This is supposed to be a time where the Nigerian government will say no, all those innocent blood that was shed by the Boko Haram insurgency, that they can actually get justice. I mean, they finally giving us a lead. Unlike before, where we say everybody in a rumor, all everybody in a rumor. Now this is not a rumor. This is direct. This is like telling you that I know the people. This man has given you a hint. What are you people doing about it? There's no press release. There's nothing. The government don't release anything. They don't release any news about that. When one person talk for TikTok now, na go rush go carry am. If person talk for Twitter now, na go rush go carry am. This man, where they talk now, a politician, present politician, and a retired army reserve. So he's privileged with a lot of information. So Nigerian government, I ask you, what is going on? Are you people going to mount an investigation on this? You now have a lead. You now have a lead. And it's just so crazy, this USAID thing, it just opened my eyes to a lot of things to let you know, say, oh my blessing are these Americans, true, now they cause swallow for this world. Yes, because if they're giving our money for development of another countries, nobody forced you people decided to set up that agency. So when I go use that, they sponsor ISIS, they use that, they sponsor different terrorist groups around the world. But again, at the end of the day, if you are smart, you would already know, so you would not read between the lines. All this war that are going on around the world, it's not say they cannot stop them, they can stop them. But there are a lot of money, there's billions of dollars to be made in the war.
We have heard from Very Dark Man, who is the Nigerian, expressing his frustrations out of this whole story. So I'd like us to read more because I want to know more. This one posted and said, Barack Hussein Obama II is his name. Boko Haram was getting USAID funding whilst GEJ was prevented from buying arms. He mobilized stockpile of arms from the Muammar Gaddafi's Libya he had destroyed. He marked Nigeria for chaos, total destruction. And this one says, people blamed for Nigerians' problems. But Obama, Buhari voters, all NGOs, USAID. Also, this one is like, he's going to share. There's another slide that we're going to read. And he's enlisting the people that we are supposed to be looking at for Nigerian problems. So it's basically the ones that are above are not supposed to be included in the list of the people that are causing problems in Nigeria. So basically this one is on Obama's side. He doesn't believe what is being said about Obama. So there are many people like this one. And I might be one of them. I might not be one of them. I'm a person who likes to hear the other person's side of the story. And that is just me. And he said, people actually responsible for Nigeria's problems today. Obasanjo, GEJ, Buhari, Tinubu, PDP, APC, NASS, all state governors, LG chairs since 1999, Nigerians, army, Nigerian police. So this one says, no, forget about Barack Obama and the USAID. You are just talking story. These are the people that are responsible for the whole thing. And this one says, Nigerians are livid. Nigerian Twitter is in flames. People are angry. Recently, it was revealed that USAID under Barack Obama administration were funding Boko Haram. Now we know the horror operations which were carried by the terrorist group. People were unalived. Nigeria was destabilized. It was bad. Well, it was all funded like the rest of terrorism, riots, regime change, and chaos in Africa. The Obama administration was... No, I'm not going to be reading that. I am not going to be reading that. So just to put a clarity, this post, this particular particular post is from a South African. This one likes sharing political news and all of that. So what are your views? What are your views? Must we blame the outsiders as Africans? Must we blame the outsiders, or must we blame our own governments that allow such things to flourish, who sell out our own country for whatever benefit that they get from that? So I don't know, man. I don't know. Yo, Sana, I don't know. But then again, this one from Nigeria, says, now I clear for Barack Obama side. Barack Obama did Nigeria did. Please pardon me if I don't read this language very well. He did Africa dirty, but Obama was poised to reduce the prosperity of Africa by any means necessary. Barack Obama is. I'm not going to be reading that. You're going to be reading it yourself. Those words. I don't want to read the things that will change my content and turn it into something else. So, okay, guys, whatever your views are, share them in the comment section. So, my question is, if this is true, what then? You know that Africa sometimes will lack that power to hold the Western countries like accountable for the things that they do in our countries. And this one says, each day I wake up with for Barack Obama, you in human flesh, I'm not going to be reading these words, to his race, the ruiner of African progress, the annihilator of Nigerians' toddling development. He moved from silencing Muammar Gaddafi and wrecking Libya to staging a ballot coup in Nigeria. You know, there's another video clip that I'm going to share later on that sort of goes like what this person is saying, that Barack Obama interfered in Nigerian elections and staged a coup via a ballot paper. So this one says, Barack Obama's administration pretending to help Nigeria fight Boko Haram is the most thing in recent Nigerian history. I jumped that word intentionally. It's even worse to think they used Nigerians to plan and execute the unaliving of Nigerians in Nigeria. Yeah, guys. You know, this post is very short, but it's got some serious points there. And you know, when it says of Nigerians in Nigeria, it took Nigerians to do this in Nigeria against Nigerians because of money was involved. So if you don't understand that money is a very powerful thing, anyway, guys, whatever your views are, continue sharing them in the comment section. This one says, same Obama that refused to give arms to Jonathan government to fight Boko Haram. You see, these people, actually people knew this. I think it was a situation of knowing this is happening, but then again, not believing it is being done by the person that is doing it. Do you get? Because Barack Obama looks more like us in Africa, and it was far from people's brains that he could do something like this. I'm just saying, if he did it, I'm not saying he did, please. I'm not saying he did. If he did something like this, you know what makes this whole thing sounds like the truth? Because it is not coming from us as Africans. It is coming directly from the White House in America about Americans doing stuff in Africa. So guys, who are we to say no to such a thing? Okay. This one put up a thread about this. He said, David Hondeyin times Boko Haram times Barack Obama times Aisha Yusuf times USAID times Buhari times CDS Musa report. This is the entire report. So I'm going to be reading this report for you as we move forward. Elon Musk's Doge confirmed Obama and Biden USAID as the sponsors of ISIS, guys. This is serious. Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda, Taliban, and more terrorists with taxpayers' money to the amount of $1 billion annually. Guys, we are about to enter into this thread. I'd like us to read it together and hear what is going on. Like, yay! And also there is something that Nigerians were complaining about NGOs. That one I relate with. We are still going to get that more information or maybe read about it as we proceed in the very same video. I was like, yo, sana. Ha.
The level of interference by the Obama's government was very overwhelming. It's not as if I couldn't have won the election even with that. But if by my own thinking and also the way some other people look at it, they go outside the normal diplomatic relationship, then it should be mentioned. Sending that person to Nigeria at the eve of election, after Obama even issued a statement directing Nigerians to vote for the next chapter, that tells you something. And we should not sweep this things under the carpet. If a foreign country, whether African country or even America or any other country, interferes with our own elections, we should mention it. Immediately the Chibok issue came up, we expect Nigerians to be concerned. How do we get these girls out? Within a couple of days, we saw people going to the US would bring back our girls' placards. How? Why? And of course, the Mrs. Obama received one of those placards. I cannot take responsibility for the abduction. I don't control Boko Haram. They are criminals. But as a president, of course, you know, it's not the president that go to the field. You have security and intelligence officers that do the work. Let me admit that, yes, maybe they do their best, but their best was not good enough for us to recover the girls. That does not mean that I'm trying to remove myself from any blame. Yes, I may not be blamed for the action, but I could be blamed that my security and intelligence system are not strong enough to be able to rescue the girls.
And we continue reading from the same thread, guys. This person continues to say, or rather this account continued to say, with an annual budget of $1 billion, David Hundeyin initially called it Nigeria's city, as Chris Musa also hinted it severally. US government Scott Perry finally made it public yesterday, leaving Nigerians and American taxpayers in shock. Like, you know, I am not involved in whatever is happening about this $1 billion USAID fund, but I'm equally shocked. I refuse to believe this is true. Something in me says maybe they are trying to destroy Barack Obama's name or whatever, maybe trying to pull down the Democrats and whatnot. But it came from the US. It came from that one, guys.
I just can't understand why anybody will wake up and say that we're killing people when we're actually not doing the same. And guess what? Where the Giwa barracks you were talking about, we have all the humanitarian agencies working there. You have the UN working, local and international organizations are working. Are we saying they are complicit? There is nothing we're doing in the back. So if they don't say it, which means Amnesty International is equal, and Amnesty is equally there. So which means they're equally accusing all these other organizations of being complicit.
So just to be clear, you would be prepared to go to the ICJ in The Hague and answer these accusations?
We're not scared of anything because we don't have anything of such.
We've seen Boko Haram regroup, and regroup and regroup. What is your answer to that? That you have in some way fed the insurgents? The
problem is that I think we've talked to the international community. Let's find out the funding. When they started surrendering, by the time we left, so as we speak, we have over 120,000 that have surrendered. Most of them, when you find them, they are coming with hard currencies. How did they get them? How are they funded? How did they get the training? How did they get the equipment?
What is your suspicion?
Well, maybe an international conspiracy, you don't know. Who knows? How are they be able to sustain themselves for 15 years? That is one question I think everybody should ask himself. For Nigeria to be able to hold them, and you go to Nigeria, everything seems to be working well.
You must have an idea. I mean, let's not talk about international conspiracy theories. Let's give some hard facts.
Well, I just leave it at that. I'm sure they know, and I'm sure everybody knows that these are the challenges we're facing that needs to be addressed. So the UN need to come in to ensure that, because we need to trace the funding. How are they sustaining themselves for 15 years?
What does the UN coming in mean? What does that look like?
Track the funding. It's international flow. We don't have control over that.
Whose interest is it to see Nigeria destabilize?
Well, I don't know. You don't know. Your guess is as good as mine.
That man said it so many times. Trace the funding. I think he said it 3 times. Trace the funding. And you can tell from his facial expression that it comes from somebody who knows but is unable to say it, because I think maybe considering things like safety and all of that. But you can tell that is somebody who knows something but unable to talk about it. There's also something that he spoke about. That video clip is still going to watch. He said the NGOs. He said the NGOs are a problem. This we know as South Africans. This we know as South Africans. NGOs. Here in South Africa, they've been supporting all the things, the wrong things that the government is trying to end in South Africa or to deal with. They'll be there being on the side of the wrong. And you ask yourself, why are they sounding like this? Why are they sounding like they are against the progress of the country? And with illegal mining in South Africa, we saw the worst of NGOs. Like, they are not fighting to see the country moving forward. They are always this sideshow that is working against the government, even on good things that are supposed to move this country forward. So when they talk about NGOs, when Nigerians complain about the NGOs that are getting funding from USAID, is something that we have seen in South Africa. We don't know where they get their money from, but we have seen NGOs working against the government.
NGOs, there are so many things. If we want to go into NGO issues, there are so many things I had. Initially, when the NGOs came in, when we started, they didn't want any oversight function. They didn't want us to know where they were going to. We had issues with that, because now they will go into the enclave of the terrorists and go and treat them. You are treating the same people that is attacking the communities. You tell them no, that you are neutral. How neutral can you be? We've had situations where allegations of arms, them conveying arms to us just to make sure that the war continues. We've had situations where they will tell you they are taking food to communities. Halfway, they tell you the trailer has broken down. By next morning, the trailer is empty. And that vehicle that is broken down, the driver will just go and drive it and take it back. So what had happened? You have funded those guys. You are taking care of them equally. We've had several situations like that. So we said, no, it can't continue like that. And that's why we insisted with the state government that, look, the state government must know what's going on. So if any NGO comes, it must be registered. We must monitor what's going on. We've had situations where NGOs will come in with unidentified individuals entering communities. You don't even know what they're doing. They don't have NGO ID cards. They are not part of the government. Who is taking them to? What are they going there for? And so by the time we start monitoring what they were doing, we noticed things started getting better. So which means something is going on somewhere, because they come from all over the world and you don't know who is who. So that's why for every country, please regulate what the NGOs are doing, monitor what they're doing. Most times you hear them telling you that they spent $10 million and then you wonder where. Most times the money is spent on themselves, on their luxuries, the hotels they stay, the vehicles they are using and all those things. The locals don't benefit much from them. And yet this thing keeps on. I've told you, somebody will come and pay for a house for 10 years ahead. So what is he trying to tell you? This thing will never end until after 10 years. Well, maybe he will renew it. And again, I always remember that if there is peace and the threat level is low, one, they are going to retrench them. Two, their hazard allowance will reduce. How many of them will want that? We're not saying all of them are bad. No, some are really doing very well. Some are extremely doing very well. But again, please don't just assume they're just monitor what's going on, monitor what's being spent. I think it's important. I think we've dealt with the issue.
There's the last one of extermination of the...
when is it going to end? Maybe I should ask you, when is criminality going to end? It's something that we have to live. No, the truth about it is just something that's the new world order. And it's everywhere. In America, how many killings are going on? It's all acts of terrorism. It's going to be in every country. It is your ability to mitigate, to deal with it in such a way that it does not affect the normal lives of the people. But acts of criminality will continue. That is for sure. Countries that have not had it, please don't allow it to start. Whatever it takes, once they start, please nip it immediately in the bud. It's very important. And what does it take? Monitoring. Monitoring is good. Law enforcement, legal system. These are areas that we're having a lot of challenges.
We are still reading from the same thread, guys. He added that USAID claims the funds were for building schools, but the schools projects are non-existent. USAID also pays Taliban families who, quote-unquote, they unalived so that they won't join ISIS. So they're calling this a preventative measure. Yay! Guys, please don't forget to share your views in the comment section, guys. I'm looking forward to reading those ones, especially from Nigeria. You have more insight. Kindly share with us. The person continues to say, earlier this month, David Handeyin alleged that Barack Obama's government were solely responsible for unseating Goodluck Jonathan, using Boko Haram and staging the Chibok girls kidnap, promoting a universal Bring Back Our Girls campaign championed by Aisha Yesufu in Nigeria, amongst others. So, yeah. Guys, I don't know what to make out of this stuff, but I'm relying on the comment section to know more. Continues to say, Aisha released about 25 tweets denying and labeling the journalist biased. David Handeyin also mentioned 10 Nigerian journalists who were under USAID payroll to push propaganda for 333 euros per month. They included Premium Times journalists, The Cable, and a few other independent journalists. Allegedly, US already had troops on ground waiting to start war should Jonathan had failed to concede defeat. I refuse to believe this. I really refuse to believe this. However, Jonathan knew this and conceded defeat within the ideology that no Nigerian blood was worth his political ambitions.
No matter our ambitions, we should not sacrifice the life of Nigerians. That's nobody's ambition. Even if you want to be 20 presidents of this country, your ambition is not worth the blood of any Nigerian. And you pray to God to give us that wisdom, that mind, to make sure that we conduct ourselves in a way that will not set the country ablaze because of our own personal ambition.
Boko Haram was founded in 2002 but gained popularity in 2009 when they openly rebelled against the government. Guys, in 2014, they raided a school in broad daylight and took 276 girls and some female teachers. This act gave them international recognition, which apparently was sponsored by the US government. They've so far unalived more than 30,000 people and displaced over 15 million. Guys, this is bad. This is bad. No matter how you look at it. And this is by no means a small thing. And for Barack Obama, if you are accused of something like this, you cannot remain silent. I am looking forward to seeing what he's going to say. I want to see his statement. I want to be able, when I read the statement, that, you know what, he was not a part of this. Because this is taking away all the image that he has built over many years. And continues to say, the Nigerian Chief of Defense Staff, General Usman, who was recently denied Canadian visa, hinted that the terrorists are sponsored by NGOs, that they will bring trucks full of medical aid, claiming is for a rural community, but when they get to an isolated area, they would claim the truck has broken down. Yo, sana. Guys, what is going on? They'd leave it days after the driver will return to drive the same truck back home. But at this point, the truck is empty. And next thing you see is terrorists with brand new sophisticated weapons. Oh my goodness. A lot of things are happening there, guys. If you're from Nigeria, kindly share in the comment section so that we know more, because in South Africa we are seeing the rise of NGOs that are working against the government, that are working against what is good for South Africa. They are just... And South Africans have been complaining that the NGOs must be monitored. You see, General Usman has said that in the previous clip, that monitor what the NGOs are doing. Monitor that, because a lot of things are happening under the name NGO. So it is very bad to leave the NGOs to just govern themselves without being monitored. So okay, guys, whatever your views are, kindly share them in the comment section. This was very difficult for me to put together, because I also get emotional within doing it, because I'm asking myself, where is our continent going with such things, with such selling out by our leaders and whatnot? Because even if Barack Obama did this and his administration, he needed people within Africa to support whatever he wanted to do. Without that, it wouldn't have flourished. Anyway, guys, if you watched up to here, I really appreciate it. And the next time you bump into my videos, kindly watch my ads in full. It really goes a long way. Enkosi guys, ndiyabulela ndizanibona kwi video elandelayo.